Lorelei Silverwind looked out the window of her small ship as it flew down toward Earth. Her long pointed ears picked up the soft sounds of the human machines below. She had been a diplomat for 300 years. She had made peace deals on 17 different worlds. But this blue planet was different. The humans had just learned how to travel between stars 3 months ago. Most species took hundreds of years to learn this, but humans did it much faster than anyone expected. When her team first contacted them, the humans acted strange. Her people had offered to protect Earth from the Void Hunters. These were scary aliens who destroyed planets and ate everything on them. Most new species were happy to get protection. They would pay money or give resources to stay safe. But the humans said something weird. Admiral Lisa Barnes had sent a message back to them. She said thank you for the warning. Then she asked for everything they knew about the enemy. She did not ask how much protection would cost. She did not ask what the deal would be. She just wanted to know about the enemy. This made Lorelei feel worried. Humans seemed to change very fast when they heard about danger. They went into what they called war mode. Most species would hide or run away. Humans seemed to want to fight. The ship landed at a new building in a place called Colorado. The air was thin and cold up in the mountains. Lorelei stepped out of her ship wearing her best diplomatic clothes. A human woman was waiting for her. General Katie Murphy was short but looked very strong. Her gray eyes seemed to look at everything and remember it. She walked up to Lorelei with quick steps. "Ambassador Silverwind," Murphy said. Her voice was hard and serious. "We have been watching the Void Hunters with our telescopes. We can see their ships coming. They will be here in 6 days." Lorelei felt surprised. Most species could not track ships in space that well, and humans had only been in space for a few months. "General Murphy," Lorelei said, trying to sound calm, "your people have just learned to travel in space. The Void Hunters have destroyed 14 different worlds. They have been doing this for hundreds of years. This is why my people offer protection. We can help keep you safe." Murphy stopped walking and turned to look at Lorelei. "Protection means we cannot take care of ourselves. We do not need someone else to fight for us. We need information. We want to know how they fight. We want to know about their weapons. Tell us everything about them." Lorelei felt cold, but not from the mountain air. In all her years as a diplomat, she had never met a species like this. When most people heard about the Void Hunters, they became scared. They wanted to hide or run away. They begged for help. But humans heard about danger and asked for homework about the enemy. Murphy started walking again toward the building. "Come inside. Our people are waiting to talk to you." As they walked, Lorelei saw human soldiers everywhere. They were all moving fast and looked very serious. Everyone seemed to have a job to do. In just a few hours, the humans had started preparing for war. "General," Lorelei said as they walked, "you do not understand. The Void Hunters do not just attack planets. They eat everything. They take all the metal, all the water, all the people. Nothing is left when they finish. Whole civilizations just disappear." Murphy opened a door for Lorelei. "That is good information. What else can you tell us about how they do this?" Inside the building, Lorelei saw something that made her feel scared. Humans were working at computers and looking at maps of space. They were already making plans to fight. Big screens showed pictures of ships and weapons. Everyone was talking fast and taking notes. A young human woman ran up to Murphy with a tablet computer. "General, the factories have started making new ships. We should have 50 combat ships ready in 3 days." Lorelei stared at the woman. "You are building warships? In 3 days?" "Yes, ma'am," the woman said. "We took apart some of our cargo ships and are putting weapons on them. The car factories are now making ship parts instead of cars. Everyone is working together." Murphy led Lorelei to a big room full of tables and chairs. More humans were there looking at papers and computer screens. They all looked up when Lorelei walked in. "Everyone," Murphy said loudly. "This is Ambassador Silverwind. She is going to tell us everything about the Void Hunters, how they fight, what weapons they use, and how we can beat them." An older man with gray hair stood up. "Ambassador, we appreciate you coming here. I am Admiral Lisa Barnes, We have some questions for you. Lyrelay sat down in a chair that was too small for her tall body. Admiral Barnes, I think you misunderstand the situation. The Void Hunters cannot be beaten. They are too strong. The best thing to do is hide or run away. My people can help you escape to a safe place. Barnes looked at the other humans in the room. Some of them smiled, but not in a happy way. It was the kind of smile that made Lyrelay feel worried. Ambassador, Barnes said slowly, humans do not run away from fights. When someone comes to hurt our home, we do not hide. We stop them. A woman with short brown hair spoke up. Ma'am, our satellites show the enemy ships are big, but they fly in straight lines. If they always do the same thing, we can plan for it. Lyrelay felt confused. You are watching them already? Of course, Barnes said. As soon as you told us they were coming, we pointed all our telescopes at them. We have been tracking them for 2 days. They seem to think no one will fight back. Murphy sat down next to Lyrelay. Ambassador, we need to know everything. How big are their ships? How many fighters do they have? What kind of shields do they use? How fast can they turn? Do they have any weak spots? The questions came fast from all around the room. Humans wanted to know about engines and weapons and tactics. They wanted to know how the Void Hunters talked to each other. They wanted to know if the aliens had ever lost a fight. Lyrelay tried to answer the questions, but felt overwhelmed. These humans were planning to fight an enemy that had never been defeated. They were asking questions like they could actually win. Wait, Lyrelay said, holding up her hands. You all need to understand something. No one has ever beaten the Void Hunters. They are too powerful. The only thing to do is run away and hope they do not follow you. The room became quiet. All the humans looked at each other. Then Admiral Barnes spoke. Ambassador, has anyone ever really tried to fight them, or does everyone just run away? Lyrelay thought about this question. Well, most species try to negotiate first. When that does not work, they evacuate their planets. So, no one has ever actually fought them with everything they had? Asked Murphy. Fighting them would be suicide, Lyrelay said. Barnes smiled that worried smile again. Ma'am, humans have been preparing to fight aliens since we first looked at the stars. We just did not know which aliens we would fight. Now we do. The meeting continued for hours. Humans asked hundreds of questions about the Void Hunters. They wanted to know everything. Lyrelay found herself telling them things she had never told anyone before. Technical details about ships and weapons that most species did not want to hear about. As the sun set outside, Lyrelay realized something that made her feel scared. These humans were not planning to survive the attack. They were planning to win it. And somehow that seemed more frightening than the Void Hunters themselves. The next morning, Lyrelay woke up in a small room inside the human military base. She had not slept well. All night she could hear the sounds of humans working, trucks driving back and forth, people shouting orders, machines running without stopping. When she looked out her window, she saw something that made her feel amazed and worried at the same time. Huge metal pieces were being moved around by giant cranes. Humans in yellow hard hats were welding and cutting metal. In one night, they had built the start of what looked like a weapons factory. A knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. A young human woman in military clothes stood outside. Good morning, Ambassador. I am Captain Beth Rodriguez. General Murphy wants you to come to the war room for a briefing. Lyrelay followed Captain Rodriguez through hallways filled with busy humans. Everyone was carrying papers or tablet computers. They all walked fast and looked very serious. The war room was deep underground. It was a big room filled with computers and large screens. Colonel Amy Foster stood in front of a huge screen that showed pictures of Void Hunter ships. She was pointing at different parts of the ships and talking to a group of human officers. Their main ships use something called quantum disruptors, Foster said. These weapons can break apart metal at the atomic level. They also fly in a pattern that my people call Delta 7 formation during attacks. Admiral Barnes saw Lyrelay come into the room. Ambassador, please sit down. We want to show you our battle plans. Lyrelay sat in a chair near the back of the room. She felt confused. Battle plans? Most species just tried to hide from the Void Hunters. Foster continued talking. According to our computers, the standard way to fight them is to build defensive walls around planets and then evacuate people when the walls fail. A man with captain's bars on his uniform raised his hand. Colonel, what happens if we do not use defensive walls? What if we attack them instead? Attack them? Lyra said loudly. Everyone turned to look at her. Captain, you cannot attack the Void Hunters. They do not negotiate, they do not retreat. They just destroy everything. Captain Rodriguez looked at her tablet computer. Ma'am, if they always use this Delta 7 formation, then their back ships are not protected for about 47 seconds when they change positions. That is enough time for a surprise attack. Lyra felt her heart beating fast. You want to attack them? The room became very quiet. Admiral Barnes walked over to Lyra and looked directly at her with cold blue eyes. Ambassador, Barnes said slowly, when someone comes to destroy our home, we do not build walls and hope they go away. We remove the threat completely. General Murphy pressed a button and another screen lit up. It showed a map of space around Earth with lots of small dots moving around. Our factories have been working for 3 days straight, Murphy said. We have converted 17 civilian shipyards into military production facilities. 43 orbital platforms are now making weapons instead of satellites. Lyra stared at the numbers on the screen. This is impossible. You cannot build this many ships so quickly. Colonel Foster smiled, but her eyes stayed cold. Ambassador, humans have been getting ready for space war since we first invented rockets. We just did not know who we would be fighting. Now we know. A woman with Major's insignia spoke up. We have been studying the technical information you gave us. The Void Hunter ships are big and scary, but they have some problems. Problems? Lyra asked. Yes, ma'am. They are built to fight enemies who run away. Their armor is thick in front but thin on the sides and back. Their weapons are powerful but take a long time to turn around, and they seem to think no one will ever attack them directly. Admiral Barnes activated another screen that showed human ship designs. We have been building ships that are small and fast. They can attack from many directions at once. Lyra looked at the ship designs and felt worried. These ships are too small. Void Hunter ships are 10 times bigger. Size does not always win battles, said Captain Rodriguez. We studied old Earth wars. Sometimes small fast ships can beat big slow ships. Colonel Foster brought up another display. We also noticed something interesting about their communication systems. They use a central command ship to coordinate all their other ships. If something happened to that command ship, the others might not know what to do. You are planning to attack their command ship? Lyra felt like she could not breathe properly. We are planning to attack all their ships, Barnes said calmly. But the command ship first. A young lieutenant raised his hand. Admiral, what about their shields? The ambassador said they have very strong energy shields. Foster nodded. Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons like lasers and plasma cannons, but we checked the technical data. They are not as good against physical projectiles. Physical projectiles? Lyra asked. Bullets, Ambassador. Really big, really fast bullets. Murphy pressed another button and the screen showed Earth with lots of new structures around it. We have also built planetary defense systems. If any of their ships get past our fleet, they will face rail guns, missile launchers, and kinetic bombardment platforms. Lyra tried to understand what she was hearing. You built all of this in 3 days? Ma'am, when humans are threatened, we work very fast, said Rodriguez. Every factory on Earth is now making military equipment. Car factories are making tank parts. Computer companies are making targeting systems. Even toy companies are making small drones. Barnes walked to the center of the room. Ambassador, we want to thank you for the information about the Void Hunters. It has been very helpful, but we need to know more. More? Yes. We need to know about their home base. Where do they come from? How many ships do they have in total? Are there other fleets like this one? Lyra felt scared. Why do you need to know that? Foster answered for Barnes. Because we do not want them to send another fleet after we destroy this one. We want to make sure this problem never happens again. You are talking about attacking their home worlds? We are talking about ending this threat permanently, Murphy said. The Void Hunters have been terrorizing this part of the galaxy for hundreds of years. Someone needs to stop them. A communications officer ran into the room carrying a tablet. Admiral, we are getting reports from our long-range sensors. The Void Hunter fleet is moving faster than expected. They will be here in 4 days, not 6. Barnes looked around the room at her officers. Ladies and gentlemen, we just lost 2 days of preparation time. I want all ship construction accelerated, all training programs compressed, all weapons testing completed in the next 24 hours. Yes, ma'am, came the response from everyone in the room. As the humans rushed out to carry out their orders, Lyrelay sat alone in her chair. She activated her communicator and called the Galactic Council. This is Ambassador Silverwind reporting from Earth. The ancient voice of Council Speaker Theron came through the device. Ambassador, how are the evacuation preparations proceeding? Speaker Theron, there are no evacuation preparations. The humans are not evacuating. What do you mean? They are preparing to fight the Void Hunters. They have built a fleet of warships. They have military plans. They think they can win. There was a long silence before Theron spoke again. That is impossible, Ambassador. No species develops that level of military capability so quickly. Through the window of the war room, Lyrelai could see human ships launching from orbital shipyards. Fighters were practicing attack formations. Larger ships were testing their weapons on asteroids. Speaker, I am looking at it right now. They have built hundreds of ships in 3 days. They are not running away from this fight. They are running toward it. Ambassador, you must convince them to evacuate. The Void Hunters cannot be defeated. I have tried, Speaker. They do not want to run away. They want tactical information so they can attack the Void Hunters. Another long silence. This is unprecedented. No species has ever chosen to fight the Void Hunters. These humans are different, Speaker. They seem to think that running away from a fight is worse than losing the fight. Keep monitoring the situation, Ambassador. Report back in 12 hours. The communication ended. Lyrelai looked around the empty war room at all the screens showing human military preparations. She had spent 3 centuries negotiating peace deals and evacuation plans. She had never seen anything like this. The humans were not just refusing to run away. They were actively preparing to hunt the hunters. And somehow, watching their calm confidence and detailed planning, Lyrelai was starting to think they might actually succeed. 2 days before the Void Hunters were supposed to arrive, Lyrelai stood on the observation deck of her diplomatic ship. She had moved it to a safe distance from Earth so she could watch what the humans were doing. What she saw made her feel amazed and frightened at the same time. The space around Earth looked completely different than it had a week ago. Where there had been empty darkness, now there were hundreds of human ships moving in organized groups. The ships looked strange because they had been built so quickly. Many of them were civilian cargo ships with weapons attached to them. Others were completely new designs that had been built in just a few days. Her ship's communication system crackled to life. Diplomatic vessel, this is Commander Nina Bell of the UES Liberty. Please be aware that Battle Group Charlie is moving. To attack position, stay at your current location to avoid our weapons testing zones. Weapons testing zones. The humans were still testing their weapons while an enemy fleet was flying toward them. Most species would be praying to their gods or evacuating to safe planets. But humans were practicing shooting. The biggest human ship was called the UES Defiance. It was enormous, even bigger than Lyrelai's diplomatic vessel. But she could see that it had been built very quickly. Parts of old civilian ships had been welded onto a military frame. The hull was covered with thick armor plates that looked like they had been added at the last minute. Through her ship's powerful telescopes, Lyrelai watched human workers still welding pieces onto ships, even as the fleet prepared for battle. These people were literally building their warships while flying to fight. Admiral Barnes's voice came over the fleet communication channels. All units, this is Admiral Barnes. Status report. First Fleet ready for combat, came the response from Captain Rodriguez. 89 vessels, full ammunition loads, all pilots trained and ready. Second Fleet standing by, reported another voice. 112 ships, including the heavy cruisers we finished yesterday. Third Fleet operational, added Commander Bell. 66 fast attack vessels and 42 fighters. Lyrelai counted the numbers in her head. The humans had built almost 300 warships in less than a week. This should have been impossible. Most species took years to build even one military ship. Orbital defense grid status? Barnes asked. Colonel Foster's voice answered from the surface of Earth. All platforms online and ready, Admiral. We have kinetic railguns, missile batteries, and close defense systems. If any enemy ships get past the fleet, we can provide fire support. Excellent. All ships prepare for final systems checks. Lyrelai activated her private communication channel to contact the Galactic Council again. She had been reporting to them every few hours, but they still did not seem to believe what was happening. Council Speaker Theron, this is Ambassador Silverwind with another update. Yes, Ambassador. Are the humans finally ready to discuss evacuation? Negative, Speaker. They now have a complete battle fleet. Nearly 300 ships plus planetary A-Day defenses. They are not evacuating, they are preparing to attack the Void Hunters. The silence lasted so long that Lyrelai thought the communication had been cut off. Finally, Theron spoke. 300 ships? In 1 week? Yes, Speaker, I am. Looking at them right now. They converted their entire industrial capacity to military production. Every factory, every shipyard, every manufacturing facility is now making weapons and ships. This defies everything we know about industrial development and military logistics. Through her observation window, Lyrelai watched as squadrons of human fighters practiced attack runs on target drones. The pilots flew in perfect formation, even though most of them had learned to fly in space only days ago. Speaker, there is something else. The humans are not defensive fighters. They are not planning to hide behind their planet and hope the Void Hunters go away. They are planning to hunt them. Hunt them? Yes. They want to attack the Void Hunter fleet before it reaches Earth. They are treating this like a military mission, not a disaster to survive. She watched as the UES Defiance launched a full spread of missiles at a test target. The target asteroid disappeared in a flash of light and debris. Ambassador, Theron said slowly, in 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no species has ever chosen to fight the Void Hunters. They run, they hide, they negotiate, or they die. No one fights. These humans are different, Speaker. When I told them about the threat, their first question was not how to escape. It was how to destroy the enemy. Lieutenant Holly Chen's voice came over the human fleet channels. All ships, be advised that we have detected the Void Hunter fleet on long-range sensors. They are 2 days out and maintaining standard approach vector. Admiral Barnes responded immediately. Excellent. All units, begin final preparations. This is what we have been training for. Lyrelai listened to the calm confidence in Barnes's voice. There was no fear, no panic, no desperate last-minute planning. Just professional military preparation. A human communications officer contacted her ship directly. Ambassador Silverwind, Admiral Barnes requests your presence aboard the UES Defiance for the final tactical briefing. Lyrelai took a small shuttle over to the human flagship. As she docked with the massive ship, she was amazed by what she saw inside. The corridors were filled with human crew members, all moving with purpose and confidence. Everyone seemed to know exactly what they were supposed to do. The main bridge of the Defiance was much larger than her own ship's control room. Dozens of humans sat at computer stations monitoring sensors, weapons, navigation, and communications. Large screens showed tactical displays of the entire human fleet. Admiral Barnes greeted her at the entrance to the bridge. Ambassador, thank you for joining us. We wanted you to see our final preparations. Admiral Barnes, I must ask you one more time to reconsider this plan. The Void Hunters have destroyed 14 civilizations. They have never been defeated. Barnes led her to the main tactical display. Ambassador, look at this screen. What? Do you see? Lyra looked at the display showing the approaching Void Hunter fleet. I see 300 enemy ships in standard consumption formation. I see an enemy that has never faced organized resistance, Barnes said. Look at how they are flying. Straight lines, predictable patterns. No scouts or advance guards. They expect to find frightened civilians, not a military fleet. Captain Rodriguez joined them at the display. Ma'am, the enemy fleet is still using the same formation patterns the ambassador described. They have not changed their tactics in centuries because they have never needed to. That is their weakness, added Commander Bell, who had just arrived from her ship. They are prepared to terrorize civilians and destroy defenseless planets. They are not prepared for a real war. Lyra felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's air conditioning. You are talking about them like they are just another enemy to defeat. That is exactly what they are, Barnes said simply. They are just an enemy. A dangerous one, but still just an enemy. And humans know how to deal with enemies. General, Murphy's voice came through the communication system from Earth. Admiral, all planetary defense systems are online. If any enemy ships break through the fleet, we are ready for them. Copy that, General. Fleet status report. All ships report. Ready for combat, Rodriguez said, checking her tablet. Ammunition at 100%. All weapon systems operational. All pilots briefed and prepared. Barnes turned to address the entire bridge crew. Ladies and gentlemen, in approximately 48 hours, we will face an enemy that has terrorized this galaxy for centuries. They expect us to run away or beg for mercy. Instead, we are going to show them what happens when they threaten humanity. The bridge crew responded with a loud, "Yes, ma'am." Lyra looked around at the human faces surrounding her. These people were not afraid. They were not desperate. They were confident, prepared, and eager for the fight to begin. Ambassador, Barnes said quietly, would you like to observe the battle from our bridge? You want me to stay during the combat? Yes. We think it would be educational for you to see how humans fight when our home is threatened, Lyra thought about this offer. By all logic, she should return to her own ship and retreat to a safe distance. The coming battle would be a disaster. The humans would be destroyed, and she would need to report their brave but foolish attempt to the Council. But something about the calm confidence of these humans made her curious. They acted like they knew something she did not, like they had a plan that would actually work. I will stay, she said. Barnes smiled. Excellent. I think you will find this very interesting. As Lyra was shown to an observation chair on the bridge, she realized she was about to witness something that had never happened before in galactic history. For the first time in 3,000 years, someone was going to fight back against the Void Hunters. She just hoped some humans would survive to tell the story. The moment finally came 2 days later. Lyra sat in her observer chair on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the tactical displays with growing amazement and fear. The Void Hunter fleet had just dropped out of hyperspace exactly where the human computers said they would appear. Lieutenant Holly Chen sat at the sensor station, her fingers moving quickly over her controls. Contact confirmed, she announced to the bridge. Enemy fleet bearing 27 Mark IV, 312 vessels in standard consumption formation. Admiral Barnes stood calmly in the center of the bridge, her hands behind her back. Around her, dozens of human officers worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. No one seemed nervous or afraid. All ships, this is Admiral Barnes, she said into her communication device. Today we face an enemy that has terrorized the galaxy. For centuries, they have destroyed entire civilizations because no one ever fought back. Today that changes. Today they learn what happens when they threaten humanity. The bridge crew listened to their admiral's words with serious faces. Lyra could see determination in their eyes, not fear. The main screen showed both fleets as they moved toward each other through space. The Void Hunter ships were much larger than the human vessels, but the humans had more ships and they were moving in complex patterns that confused Lyra. A transmission came through from the Void Hunter fleet. The universal translator made their words understandable. Primitive species of the third planet, you will submit to consumption. Your resources and population will serve the greater purpose of the void, Resistance is meaningless. Barnes walked over to the communication station. Open a channel to the enemy fleet. Channel open, Admiral. Barnes spoke clearly into the microphone. Void Hunter Fleet, this is Admiral Lisa Barnes of the United Earth Space Command. You have entered our territory with hostile intent. You will withdraw immediately or face complete destruction. Lyrelai heard alien laughter coming through the speakers. Foolish creatures. We have consumed 14 civilizations across 17 star systems. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. Prepare for consumption. Barnes looked around her bridge at her crew. Ladies and gentlemen, they were warned. All ships, commence Operation Hammer Strike. What happened next made Lyrelai understand that she had been completely wrong about everything. The human fleet did not wait for the Void Hunters to attack first. They did not form defensive lines around Earth. Instead, they split into 3 groups and attacked the alien formation from different directions at the same time. Captain Rodriguez's fighter squadron hit the enemy rear guard during the exact moment when the Void Hunter ships were changing formation. Just like the humans had predicted, the alien ships were vulnerable for 47 seconds. Rodriguez and her pilots used every one of those seconds. Lyrelai watched the tactical display in shock as human fighters swarmed around the huge alien ships like angry insects. Their weapons were small compared to the Void Hunter guns, but they hit weak spots that the aliens had never bothered to protect. Direct hit on enemy Destroyer 7, reported Chen from her sensor station. Enemy Cruiser 12 is losing power. At the same time, Admiral Barnes led the main human fleet in a pincer movement around the Void Hunter formation, while the aliens were distracted by the fighter attack. Barnes's heavy ships attacked from the sides where the enemy armor was weakest. Colonel Foster's orbital defense platforms around Earth opened fire as well, sending long-range missiles to support the fleet. Attack. The coordination between the fleet and the planetary defenses was perfect. Impossible, Lyrelai whispered to herself, watching alien ships that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries being systematically destroyed by vessels built in human garages. Commander, Bell's voice crackled over the communication system. Admiral, enemy command ship identified. It is the large vessel in the center of their formation. All heavy cruisers target the command ship, Barnes ordered. If we cut off their coordination, the rest will panic. But the Void Hunters did not panic. They tried to adapt to the human tactics. They tried to reform their lines and concentrate their firepower. But for every move they made, the humans had already prepared 3 different responses. The alien ships were designed to fight enemies who ran away in terror. They had powerful forward weapons but weak side armor. Their shields were strong against energy weapons but could not stop the physical projectiles that human railguns fired at incredible speeds. Most importantly, the Void Hunters had never learned to fight against coordinated attacks. For centuries, they had only faced desperate last stands by doomed civilizations. They had no experience with professional military tactics. Enemy command ship is taking heavy damage, Chen reported. Their formation is starting to break apart. On the main screen, Lyrelai could see the huge Void Hunter command ship surrounded by explosions as human missiles and railgun rounds hit it from all directions. The alien vessel was 5 times larger than the biggest human ship, but size did not matter when the enemy could attack from everywhere at once. Secondary explosions detected in the command ship, announced a human weapons officer. Their central computer systems appear to be failing. Barnes smiled grimly. All ships press the attack. Do not give them time to reorganize. The battle that followed was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of what happened when predators met an apex predator. The Void Hunters had spent centuries hunting weak prey. Now they faced hunters who had evolved specifically to kill other hunters. Human ships moved through the alien formation like deadly dancers, hitting precise targets and then moving away before the enemy could respond. When Void Hunter ships tried to pursue individual human vessels, they found themselves separated from their fleet and surrounded by enemies. Admiral, Rodriguez's voice came through the communication system. Enemy destroyer groups are trying to break away and escape. Negative, Barnes replied immediately. No enemy ships are to leave the system. Pursuit squadrons. Run down any ships that try to flee. Lyrelai felt sick to her stomach. not because of the violence, but because of how efficiently the humans were conducting it. This was not desperate self-defense, this was professional extermination. "Admiral Barnes," Lyrelei said quietly. "The Void Hunters are trying to retreat. Perhaps you could accept their surrender?" Barnes turned to look at her with those cold blue eyes. "Ambassador, the Void Hunters have never accepted surrender from any of their victims. They consumed 14 civilizations completely. Men, women, children, elderly, everyone. They do not get to surrender now." The main tactical display showed the final phase of the battle. Most of the Void Hunter fleet had been destroyed. The few remaining ships were being hunted down by human pursuit groups that moved too fast for the aliens to escape. "Last enemy vessel destroyed," Chen reported. "Total engagement time 6 hours, 17 minutes. The bridge became quiet except for the soft sounds of computers and air circulation systems. Lyrelei stared at the tactical display showing the debris field where the Void Hunter fleet used to be. In 6 hours, the humans had completely destroyed an enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. Ships that had consumed 14 civilizations were now just floating wreckage. "Casualty report," Barnes requested. 17 ships lost, reported the communications officer. 433 personnel, all volunteers. Barnes nodded solemnly. "Signal all ships. Full honors for our fallen. They died protecting Earth and all the other worlds these aliens would have destroyed." "Ma'am," Commander Bell's voice came through the communication system. "We have completed analysis of the enemy debris. We found star charts showing the locations of 17 other civilizations that were marked for consumption." Lyrelei felt her blood turn cold. "What are you going to do with that information?" Barnes looked at her with that same calm confidence she had shown throughout the battle. "Ambassador, those civilizations are now under Earth's protection. Real protection, not just evacuation plans. You cannot be serious. The Galactic Council will never approve of humans expanding into other star systems." Captain Rodriguez spoke up from her station. "Admiral, the analysis also shows the location of the Void Hunter home systems. 3 star systems with major industrial facilities and approximately 50 more fleets like the one we just destroyed." Barnes turned back to the tactical display. "Then we know where to go next." Lyrelei stood up from her chair, feeling dizzy. "Admiral, you cannot be considering attacking the Void Hunter home worlds." "Why not?" Barnes asked simply. "They have been destroying civilizations for centuries. Someone needs to stop them permanently. The Council has been fighting them for 3,000 years. No, Ambassador. The Council has been running from them for 3,000 years. There is a difference between fighting and surviving. We fight." General Murphy's voice came through from Earth. "Admiral, preliminary analysis of captured Void Hunter technology is complete. Their ships are actually quite advanced, but their weapons are designed for terrorizing civilians, not military combat." "Copy that, General. What about their industrial capacity?" "Based on the data we recovered, they have been building ships for conquest, not defense. Their home systems probably have very weak planetary defenses." 3 weeks after the battle, Lyrelei found herself sitting in Admiral Barnes's private office aboard the UES Defiance. The human flagship was now orbiting a planet called Kepler 442b, where a peaceful civilization of blue-skinned people had lived, in terror of the Void Hunters for 200 years. Through the office window, Lyrelei could see human ships providing security, while civilian vessels brought food and medical supplies to the planet below. The blue people had been hiding in underground cities for generations. Now they were coming to the surface for the first time in centuries. Admiral Barnes sat across from her, reading casualty reports on her tablet computer. Her face showed the same calm concentration she had displayed during the battle. "Final count is 433 dead," Barnes said without looking up. "Every single one of them volunteered for this mission. We had more people wanting to fight than we had ships to carry them." Lyrelei set down her own tablet, which contained her report to the Galactic Council. She had been struggling to write it for days. How could she explain what the humans had accomplished? "Admiral Barnes, what your people did should have been impossible. The Council has been fighting the Void Hunters for 3,000 years without success." Barnes finally looked up from her tablet. "Fighting, Ambassador? Your people have been running and hiding for 3,000 years. That is not fighting. That is just survival. I do not understand the difference. Barnes stood up and walked to the window overlooking the planet. When someone threatens your home, you have two choices. You can run away and hope they leave you, alone. Or you can make sure they never threaten anyone again. Your council chose option 1. We chose option 2. A communication came through the office speakers. It was General Murphy calling from Earth. Admiral, we have completed our analysis of the Void Hunter technology and star charts. The intelligence is even better than we hoped. Go ahead, General. The Void Hunters have 17 major fleets spread across this galaxy sector. Each fleet was assigned to consume specific civilizations. With their communication network destroyed, the other fleets do not know what happened here. Barnes turned back to Lyrelei. That gives us a significant tactical advantage. Tactical advantage for what? Lyrelei asked, though she was starting to fear the answer. Captain Rodriguez's voice joined the conversation through the communication system. Admiral, we have also identified the locations of Void Hunter supply bases and shipbuilding facilities. 47 installations across 16 star systems. Excellent work, Captain. Begin preparing target packages for all identified installations. Lyrelei felt her heart start beating faster. Admiral, you cannot be planning to attack all of them. Why not? Barnes asked simply. The Void Hunters have been terrorizing this part of the galaxy for centuries. Every day we wait, they destroy more worlds and kill more innocent people. But attacking their home systems would require a massive military campaign. You would need hundreds of ships, thousands of personnel. We have hundreds of ships, Ambassador. And we have volunteers lining up to join the fleet. When humans learn that there are civilizations living in fear, they want to help. Commander Bell's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, we have received messages from 14 of the 17 civilizations that were marked for Void Hunter consumption. They are all requesting Earth's protection. Barnes looked at Lyrelei with those calm blue eyes. You see, Ambassador? Real protection. Not evacuation plans or hiding places. Protection. Lyrelei activated her communicator to contact the Galactic Council. She had been putting off this conversation for 3 weeks, but it could not wait any longer. Council Speaker Theron. This is Ambassador Silverwind reporting from human space. The ancient voice of the council speaker came through clearly. Ambassador, we have been waiting for your report. What happened to the Void Hunter fleet? They were completely destroyed, Speaker. The humans defeated them in less than 7 hours. The silence lasted so long that Lyrelei thought the communication had failed. Finally, Theron spoke. Defeated them? You mean the humans drove them away? No, Speaker. I mean the humans destroyed every single Void Hunter ship. None escaped. The fleet that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries no longer exists. Another long silence. This is unprecedented. How did they accomplish this? They fought them, Speaker, not with desperate last stands or defensive positions. They hunted them like predators hunting prey. Through the office window, Lyrelei watched human engineers working with the blue people to rebuild their cities. Children who had never seen sunlight were playing in parks for the first time. Speaker, there is more. The humans have captured Void Hunter star charts and technology. They know the locations of the other Void Hunter fleets and their home systems. What do they plan to do with this information? Admiral Barnes gestured for Lyrelei to hand over the communicator. Council Speaker, this is Admiral Lisa Barnes of the United Earth Space Command. Admiral Barnes, the Council formally thanks you for defending your world against the Void Hunter threat. Speaker, we did not just defend our world, we eliminated the threat completely, and we plan to continue eliminating it until no Void Hunter fleet exists anywhere in this galaxy. The shock in Theron's voice was clear. Admiral, you cannot be serious. A campaign of that magnitude would require Council approval, logistical support, coordination with multiple species. Speaker, with respect, the Council has had 3,000 years to solve this problem. You chose to manage it instead of ending it. We are going to end it. The Council cannot authorize. We are not asking for authorization. Barnes interrupted. "We are informing you of our intentions as a courtesy." Lyrelei took back the communicator. "Speaker, you need to understand. The humans are not asking permission. They are going to do this with or without council support." "Ambassador, no single species can undertake military operations of this scale." Barnes smiled grimly. "Speaker, we built a fleet of 300 warships in 1 week. We defeated an enemy that had never been beaten. We liberated 4 civilizations. In the past 3 weeks. What makes you think we cannot handle the rest?" Captain Rodriguez entered the office carrying a data pad. "Admiral, I have the latest reports from our reconnaissance missions." "Go ahead, Captain." "We have confirmed the locations of 3 major Void Hunter shipyards and 12 supply bases. All are lightly defended. They apparently never expected anyone to attack them in their home territory." Barnes turned back to the communicator. "Speaker, the Void Hunters made the same mistake your council did. They thought the threat was manageable as long as it stayed contained. But some threats cannot be managed. They must be eliminated." Theron's voice became formal and cold. "Admiral Barnes, the Galactic Council cannot support unauthorized military operations. If you proceed without council approval, Earth will be acting alone." "We understand, Speaker, but we will not be acting alone." "What do you mean, Commander?" Bell's voice came through the office communication system. "Admiral, we have received formal requests for alliance from 23 different civilizations. They want to join our campaign against the Void Hunters." Lyrelei stared at Barnes in amazement. 23 civilizations want to fight alongside humans? "Ambassador, these people have been living in fear for centuries. Now they see that the Void Hunters can be beaten. They want to help make sure it never happens again." General Murphy's voice joined the conversation from Earth. "Admiral, our shipyards are working at maximum capacity. We will have another 200 warships ready within 6 weeks. Allied civilizations are contributing resources and personnel." Barnes looked directly at Lyrelei. "Ambassador, please inform the Council that Earth is offering real protection to any civilization that wants it. Not evacuation plans or hiding places. Real protection. And if the Council objects to your operations, then the Council can continue to manage threats while we eliminate them." Lyrelei realized she was witnessing something that had never happened in galactic history. A species had emerged that did not just defend itself, it actively protected others. Not for profit or political advantage, but because they believed it was the right thing to do. "Speaker Theron," she said into the communicator, "I recommend that the Council reconsider its policies regarding the Void Hunter threat." "What do you mean, Ambassador?" "I mean the humans are going to solve this problem whether the Council helps or not. The only question is whether the Council wants to be part of the solution or just a spectator." Barnes walked back to her desk and picked up a star chart showing Void Hunter territories. "Ambassador, please tell the Council that Earth's protection services are available to any civilization that requests them. Our rates are very reasonable." "Your rates?" "We do not charge money, Ambassador. We only ask that protected civilizations help us protect others. It is what humans call paying it forward." As Lyrelei prepared her final report to the Council, she watched human ships preparing to jump to their next target. The fleet that had been built in 1 week to defend Earth was now becoming the foundation of something much larger, a military force dedicated to ending an ancient threat. Her report to the Council was simple. "The humans have declined our protection services and are now offering their own. I recommend we seriously consider accepting their offer."